Now for our roundtable with our News Channel 5 political analyst Brian Crowley. And Brian, the continued $1 million referendum in Palm Beach County for schools, a reminder of grassroots local issues that are important. A lot of major endorsements for it, but not universal.
Yeah, and I think that one flaw in this thing is the fact that it is for recurring expenses, so it's always up to the voters. And it's interesting that the Palm Beach County Republican Party has said no on this. So if they have enough influence, it could do real damage to what they want to do with this millage rate.
I think they got something like 70% of a yes vote the last time, so they're hopeful that that will continue. We'll see how that plays out. Let's turn to the political races. The race for Governor Ron DeSantis in Port St. Lucie yesterday, Saturday, Charlie Crist touring the state. Let's listen in part to what they had to say as their final messages they're making around the state.
I am glad that he came down because it reminds every Floridian that the Democrats in this state are with Joe Biden 100% of the time on his failed policies. It reminds Floridians who's responsible for the worst inflation we have seen in 4 decades in this country due to those bad policies.
There really is a crystal clear choice in this race. If you want somebody who wants to address the tabletop issues, kitchen table issues that Floridians are dealing with, then you need to vote for us, and I'll tell you why. Property insurance is through the roof, you know that. The cost of utilities is through the roof, and you know that. Governor DeSantis does nothing to address it.
By the way, the governor referencing President Biden's visit here last week, Charlie Crist on stage with him. Your thoughts?
Well, you know, he's not running against Charlie Crist so much as he's running against Joe Biden. He knows that Joe Biden is not enormously popular in Florida. He's not even enormously popular with a certain segment of Democrats. So it plays to his advantage to go after Joe Biden, say less about Charlie Crist, and try to, tamp down the turnout of Democratic voters.
The polls have suggested, and both Republican and Democratic voters have told me we don't want to listen to polls, and I know you don't, but the polls have overwhelmingly suggested Governor DeSantis in the driver's seat. We'll see how it plays out on Tuesday. Quick thought there.
Well, we have, most people have already voted since we've had early voting and vote by mail. There'll be a significant number that will vote between now and Tuesday. I think it would take a real hard push by Democrats to get Charlie Crist into the governor's mansion again.
Early voting statewide, Republicans have had a lead there. We'll see what happens. Let's turn to the Senate race. The incumbent, Marco Rubio, against Congresswoman Val Demings, the former police chief in Central Florida, the Orlando area. And excuse me for just a moment, I've got a frog in my throat. Let's listen to what they've had to say out on the campaign trail and have your take on that.
See, Marco Rubio wants to take us back to a time when women were treated like second-class citizens. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not going.
The economy's strong as heck. I don't know, not our economy. Not our economy, not the economy I live in, because when the necessities of life are going up by 21%, your economy's not strong. That's been caused by them.
In some ways, those sound bites were a microcosm of the debate. Many Democrats are trying to focus on abortion throughout the summer. The Republicans trying to focus on the economy. Democrats, it was argued, came late to the game, understanding abortion might not be the push to the polls that certainly inflation and pocketbook issues are. And all of that dynamic playing out in Florida and really elsewhere.
Well, in many respects, Val Demings was the highest hope Democrats had as they entered this election season. Marco Rubio looked a little weak, perhaps being a little tired of him. But it's kind of flipped, and it appears, and the abortion issue has just not played as strong, not only in Florida, but around the country, as many people thought it would in the Democratic Party. They're still pushing hard on it, but, economy.
Former President Donald Trump out on the campaign trail this weekend as we take a look in Pennsylvania, making the rounds, hoping to be kingmaker Tuesday, and certainly has a lot of candidates who are very competitive, and he hopes he pushes them over the top. Talking to a Pennsylvania audience, he'll be in South Florida today with Senator Marco Rubio. Let's hear what he had to say in part to this Pennsylvania crowd.
Inflation is costing the typical household nearly $800 every single month. Congratulations. Who the hell voted for these people? Who voted?
And of course, all of this against the backdrop that it is expected very soon. Some have suggested November 14th that he will announce he is running again in 2024. He's been hinting at it forever. The hints continue to pick up intensity. So much to talk about there. Your thoughts?
Well, you know, he makes this comment about Ron DeSantis, calling him Ron DeSanctimonious.
Yeah.
But it may be starting to backfire on him already. You know, Joe Concha, a very well-known conservative commentator, said Trump supporters are big fans of DeSantis, and this reflects poorly on the former president. Guy Benson, another well-known, called it pettiness on behalf of the president. So it's interesting that you have some leaders in the Republican Party who are already pushing back that he dared to attack Ron DeSantis, which shows an interesting divide happening within the Republican Party.
People ask me all the time, there's no answer. We're not going to hold you to it. I might pull it up in a few years. No, I won't. I'm kidding. But do you think at the end of the day, Ron DeSantis runs? People always say, well, if former President Trump jumps in the ring, will DeSantis just stand aside? Do you think he runs or not? Right now,
My best
today.
guess today is that Ron DeSantis will run regardless of what President Trump does. He's not paid much attention to President Trump. He's kind of pushed him off to the side. I don't think he's afraid of him at this point.
We'll see what happens. We're expecting the announcement from the former president soon enough. We talk about so many issues, a lot of congressional races here. Brian Mast, the incumbent, and what will be the new District 21. I have to redo my districts because I redid them all. Against Karina Balderramos Robinson, the Democrat, talking about water issues. You talk about issues that mattered so much locally. Let's listen.
We know the Corps of Engineers is a federal entity. We can't control or manipulate their decision making. I believe what we're working towards is for them to not be so willing to release the water that has the toxicity in it from the algae blooms down into the St. Lucie River.
Lake Okeechobee in the center of Florida is unfortunately a disgusting lake. I wrote the bill that demanded that the Corps of Engineers redo their management plan. We need to get to the point that no matter what happens, there are no more discharges out to our coastal estuaries.
A reminder that, again, pocketbook issues and water quality means jobs, it means livelihoods, it means health and safety, and one of the issues they keyed on in that race. Talk about that and your broader take on the congressional races here. We have one open seat in 23, Joe Budd, the Republican, competing against Jared Moskowitz, but give your sense of it.
Well, it's interesting in that district because an algae bloom can have a big impact on the race, you know. There's been a lot of fighting for decades now over the Everglades and Lake Okeechobee and the pollution that goes on in the rivers. And Brian Mast has done very well in that district in dealing with those issues. So it's a district that leans strongly Republican, and the odds are always tougher for the Democrat in that race.
We'll keep an eye on the open seat. Again, Mr. Moskowitz against Mr. Budd, the Democrat versus the Republican, respectively.
You know, the former Ted Deutsch seat,
Yep.
It's been held by Democrats forever, and it would be stunning if Joe Budd actually was able to pull off a win in that particular district because of the demographics.
Yeah.
But this is an unusual election year, so anything could happen.
Final thought before we go to your final thought after the break. Your early final thought.
Well, one of the things that I have found encouraging is that, you know, people are talking a lot about daylight savings time, so maybe as we get into daylight savings time today, our Congress will finally decide to do away with it.
Wow. Okay. Portentous issues, and that's one of them. Thank you much, Brian. We'll be back with your final closing comment in just a moment.